John chapter 1, verse 5. And the light shines in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. When you're in the kingdom, when you're in the way, when you're in Yahushua HaMashiach, when you're following the ways of righteousness, living by faith, those that are in darkness aren't going to be able to understand what you're doing. You got to be in light in order to understand the ways of light. The fear of Yahuwah, that's the respect, the honor of Yahuwah is the beginning of wisdom. So people that's in the world, people that's in the darkness, that's not living for him, that's not living by faith, that don't have the proper respect and the proper honor of Yahuwah, they're not going to understand his ways. They're not going to understand the ways of light. Without faith, it's impossible to please him. So people that are in the world, they're not going to understand. You got to have faith first, and then you can understand. When you're in the way, when you're living in the light, you just got to be the example and set the tone, and then let your light shine. And that will influence the people that you're supposed to have influence over to come into the light and to also have faith and live for Yahuwah. And then they can begin to understand once they come into the light. You can't understand the light while you're in darkness. You got to come out of darkness first to understand the ways of light. Light can understand darkness. Darkness cannot understand light. Darkness does not have the drop on light. Light has the drop on darkness because light is superior. So that's why you don't need to explain yourself to people because they're not going to get it. People that don't want to live by faith, the people that don't want to live for Yahuwah, that don't want to live in righteousness, they're not going to understand what you're doing. They're not going to understand the ways that Yahuwah has set for us to live. They're going to want to question it. They're going to want to talk bad about it, discredit it, and say all the ways that it's wrong. They're going to ask questions, but they're not seeking after righteousness. They're just questioning to try to disprove the way. So you don't need to prove yourself to those kind of people, because they're in darkness. The world is darkness. So people living in the world, no matter what you do, they're not going to understand. But they have to come out of the world, come out of darkness in order to understand Yahuwah's way. In order to understand the ways of light, they got to have the proper fear and respect and honor for Yahuwah. And they have to be seeking after righteousness and living by faith. And then you can understand the ways of light. And then you can let your light shine as well. Because once you understand the ways of light, once you're seeking after righteousness and living by faith, you're going to live that way. And when you live that way, you're going to be producing the fruit. And when you produce the fruit, you're going to be multiplying. And your light's going to be shining. And you're going to be letting your light shine on others. And bring others that are seeking the ways of Yahuwah, the ways of righteousness. You'll influence those who Yahuwah has set for you to have influence over to come into the light, and they will, and then they will understand.